ready? It's the Roundtable with me, Robert Bannon. It's a special Roundtable talk. Hey, everybody. How are you? It's Robert Bannon. This is the Roundtable Talk. It's a bonus episode where artists come to talk about art. We have two amazing women that are just bananas talented. And I'm so excited that you're here. Let's get started. Should we just get started? How about that? Grammy nominated, Dove Award winning, Stellar Award winning, television, millions of records sold with a brand new single that's gorgeous. Why aren't you you get it right now? Stream it everywhere. It's called Speak. And Angel Taylor is here. And I know as a little boy in New Jersey, I was listening to you, Angel, for quite a moment. So Angel Taylor, come out here. Welcome.
Thank you. Hi.
It's so exciting to see you here. I was so excited for the chance to be able to speak to you because rarely does a voice like your voice come around in this world. So thank you.
Wow. Oh, thank you for saying that. That's incredible to hear. Thank you.
No, well, I mean, there's been a lot of comparisons to your voice, and your voice is like a chameleon. It really transfers and changes in so many different styles, gospel and etc. But in other styles as well that you've done, if it's folk singing or if it's rock, if it's pop, you do a little bit of everything. How do you define your music?
You know what? At the core of my music is love. And that's really, I don't necessarily chase after a particular sound. It's really felt. And it's as long as love is at the center of it, then that is kind of how I would describe my music. Because I love so many different genres.
Absolutely. So can you tell us a little bit about where'd you grow up and when did music kind of hit you? That you were stuck. Now I'm an artist.
I grew up in New Orleans. So, obviously it's a place that's filled with music and art and beauty and all those things. And I started singing. My uncle would come to the house and he'd bring his keyboard and he would play songs like Natural Woman, all these Aretha Franklin songs, and then Diana Ross and Lionel Richie, and I, be singing the songs, and I think I'm like maybe 4 or something, 5, and it clicked. Like, I think I'm good at this. And then I just had this huge love for it. I was always listening to my mom's albums and, Otis Redding and, all Stevie Wonder and all these people. I just really fell in love with music. And then when I realized I kind of had a knack for it, it was over. That was, that was all I needed.
The blessing and the curse. It's that moment where art is really like a ministry in a lot of ways. It's like, putting on a robe or a cloak. It is a way to heal and bring people together.
Absolutely. That's huge. That's a huge part of it. Yeah.
So when you start to go to talent competitions and sing not professionally and just become a young singer, is there a moment that you can remember that the tide shifted where it was like, this is going to be a business? I may be able to make this as a professional artist?
You know what? The weird thing is that I kind of always had the feeling that would be my career. I never thought I'd be anything else. Mm-hmm. So I think that part is unique. I'm not sure. But there was never a doubt. I kind of had this naive faith, and I just believed that was going to be me. Like I remember the day. Do you remember the Diana Ross Central Park concert? So I remember watching that and thinking, oh, that's going to be me. So let me pay attention to like what she's wearing and how she talks to the audience and like how she reacts. And then the part where it rained, I think the second day. And she was like, if you're going to stay, I'm going to stay. And I just thought it was so beautiful and so gracious. And the thing that I think my takeaway from her, I know that she's not celebrated as like this huge singer with like Aretha Franklin vocals, but I think the biggest part about her that was special to me was that she has so much heart and so much grace that she carried herself with. And she was a lady and she loved like the people that supported her. And that really impacted me even as a kid. And so anyway, I feel like I'm off topic, but
no.
I just kind of knew, even as a teenager, when stuff starts to get real and you kind of start to understand life a little more, still, I was like, I'm going to be a singer. I was like, I don't need this stuff. So I'm in school, like doing just okay. And I'm singing and got on headphones and I'm like, I'm going to be a singer, whatever.
Well, firstly, it's so cute that you would ask this little queer boy from New Jersey if he knew the Diana Ross in Central Park concert. I have studied it and know it well. But I think you mentioned something. Yeah, vocals and your vocal ability. I mean, you have been compared to every great singer out there. Your covers of Whitney and your covers of the, like, you a voice of a generation. But there's something about heart and there's something about connecting to the audience and giving them a lesson. And before we talk about some of the other things before we get too far into your career in life, can we talk about a lesson, your single Speak, and the words and the story that is being told? What is the lesson about this new single? What do you want people to take away because there's something in there?
Yeah. So, you know what, for me, I kind of sometimes need the reminder that God is accessible and always listening and always talking to us, but we're not always accessible. We have a lot of noise going on, from social media to the news to, like, our family, our friends, work, life. And you kind of get, what I mean, the routine, you get caught up and you get kind of used to your day to day. And so I feel, for me, I needed the reminder, hey, slow down, make sure you're talking to him before you make major decisions or even small ones. And just kind of reminding myself that he always has a direction. He always has, something to say, but I'm not really tuned in. So that was my takeaway. And I just hope that, when the audience hears it, of course, it's a classic. It's an amazing song by Donnie McClurkin. But hopefully that message gets taken away. Like, hey, let me take some time to just kind of see what's going on, in that realm. Like, what's he saying to me?
Well, we're talking about gospel and singing gospel music and a song like this, a classic song like this. There was a lot of influence throughout your career. You've worked with a lot of gospel greats, if it's Kirk Franklin, if it's et cetera, et cetera. What were some of the lessons? Was there somebody in particular who kind of helped guide you through this wolf business that is music?
You know what? We did a show with Winona Judd. Wait. We were doing something in Nashville, and I can't remember a whole lot of detail. I just remember being excited that we were opening for her, is what I called it, because we went on like right before. And we talked to her backstage, and she just, she was just like, keep going and trust your instincts and trust your decisions. And she made a huge impression because she was so chill and she was just so like, I'm taking it all in stride. And I love that about her. So I think my takeaway from that was, don't take things too seriously, not even yourself, and do what you love and believe in it and go with the flow of life, I think we sometimes make things really complicated and we stress ourselves out and we're like, I don't know how I'm gonna, but I kind of have that. Like, one of the things that my husband talked about when we first met is he never met anybody that was so peaceful and relaxed and laid back. And it's kind of was not necessarily the opposite, but kind of yin to the yang, you know what I mean? And I brought that to his life and he was very appreciative of it. But that is something that I have focused on just embracing the peace, because it is there. You just kind of have to operate in it. And I trust God. Like, we have music coming out and I haven't, done it in a while, in the first single, and I wasn't nervous. I just felt like, man, this is what God put in my heart. He would have only done that for a specific reason, because he had a goal for me. And so I need to just sit in that and walk in that. And when I show up, I'm not showing up just as me. So there's this amazing, thing that God creates that I could never create, and I've experienced it. Like, I'll go somewhere and people will be complimenting me all the time, whether it's hair or you're so beautiful, or you're just so sweet, or this. And I'm like, that's God. That's not me, because I'm just regular. I wake up like everybody else, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I start my day, and there's nothing special about me outside of what he gives me and the aura that he puts, around me. And so I'm just super appreciative of that.
Ooh, I need some of that calm, chill, laid back energy in my life, Angel. Take it.
Yeah.
Yes, it's to New Jersey, New York area here. We're all like on a rat race and on the hustle
Oh
and the
yeah.
anxiety of it all.
Yeah.
I love that. I love that yin to the yang of you both. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
When you are working in the studio, or back to singing now and back to putting out music and creating, is there a certain type of process that you have? Is there a routine? Is a certain mindset? What do you do to get into that artistic light and into that energy so that you can put out the best art possible?
Yeah. You know what? It depends on the day. I love the days when I feel super inspired. And those are usually the days where I get on my laptop and not actually in the studio, but I get on my laptop and, open up, and I feel like writing. On those days, I feel very transported, into like a different realm, or a different, this kind of creative, beautiful place. And then there are days when we've scheduled a studio session. I mean, the studio is here at home, but it's different when you have a schedule. Okay, we're gonna start tonight at 8, and you're not necessarily feeling the creative flow of it all. You kind of just have to, or I kind of just have to, try to dig in and get in that space. The music definitely helps. Talking about the song really helps, and understanding the reasons and how I feel connected to it. Those things are major, because it's very hard to sing about things that I don't understand or relate to. So I think that's the biggest thing. So even if my husband wrote the song, or even if one of my friends wrote the song, I usually like to sit around and have conversation. So when the song comes back, it really feels like me. And it really sounds like things I would say. And it is my experience, because we had all this conversation and connecting. So that is important to me.
I think that I'm from the musical theater world, and a lot of the times you got to find the connection to the emotional life. But what sells a beautiful song is your honesty and your vulnerability, and sharing how you feel through the lyrics and through your voice. So that's a real lesson for everyone who wants to sing out there that's watching this, for sure. Connect to the lyrics. Well,
Absolutely.
Angel, I'm looking at you, and I'm thinking of 1997, and you must have been 3 years old.
Yes, I was, actually.
That's 25 years ago, 26 years ago. You look like you're 28. So I don't.
Thank you.
I am sitting here floored and flabbergasted. Yes, God's grace was a long time ago. That's a moment ago. And through that experience, millions of albums and touring the world, and the Grammy nominations and the awards and everything like that. When you look back now at the journey and where it brought you today, I'm sure there are tough days, there are great days, there are hardworking long days and scary days and angry days and beyond days. Is there a moment now, as time has gone on and you're back to this, that you realize it all happened in its divine time and plan, and you're right where you're supposed to be?
Absolutely. It took some time to get there, I will say. I did not think that the journey, because I always wanted to be a solo artist, and so did Chanel. And so I think we kind of thought, oh, this will be our stepping stone. This will get us there. I do not think that either of us thought it would be like 20 years before we step into that next part of our lives and our careers. I appreciate that now. But then, 10 years in, 15 years in, you kind of feel like, oh, I'm a little stuck. I'm a little, you know, I'm moving a little slow. Like I haven't moved into my solo career, but there were so many things that I needed to learn and so many experiences that I needed to have that leveled out my personality and my character. Um, Being able to gravitate toward peace and just being able to trust God. There's so many, I can list, you know, so many things, but the person that I am now, um, I can do this because I am not doing it from a place of, oh my God, I need this to happen. Oh my God, you know, this has to be great. I don't have enough followers and I don't have, you know, enough radio plays. I don't even think about that stuff. And that isn't, I'm not bragging or anything like that. I just love where I am. I just love that I trust it and trust the process. And I know that if God pulls me out, because I love my life, I love being married, and it's really peaceful. So it really kind of took some time for me to even feel like going back into it. Because you know, the industry, it's crazy.
Yeah.
So the fact that God has something for me to do and you know wants me to connect with people. I love going on the stage and talking and telling my story, which is completely different than the person that I used to be. um I just know that there's a purpose in it, and so it's like no matter what happens, I want to walk out my purpose. And it's not about numbers, it's not about me comparing myself to this artist or that artist. um I just feel so satisfied when I leave a stage and people come and talk to me. I love the compliments. Oh, your voice is so great. But you know what really touches me the most? It's when somebody comes and says, you know what, when you talked about your dad and when you talked about this part of your life, I really connected with that. It really touched me. You know, that right there is amazing because I never thought that I would be the person to do that, to be able to share my heart because, you know, I was kind of told not to do the talking. The other girls do it better than you. You don't really have the look or the lingo, you know. So I kind of always felt like, you know, let me hold back. Let me pull back because that's not my role. And so God has really blessed me. And one day I got on stage and I did all this talking. I was like, who is this? Who am I? But it felt really rewarding and amazing. So that gosh, that makes me a little emotional, but
Yeah.
that's the
No.
best part.
Well, they say break your heart and make it art. Like that's literally, you know, sharing who you are and
Yeah,
your story is
absolutely.
it's gonna touch so many people because if you feel that way,
Yeah,
the people out there are dying to hear it. And it's like
yeah,
serving. You're giving your own ministry or wisdom or gospel or lesson or whatever you like to call it out there. It's not just the music, it's a whole experience. So
yeah.
what's coming? Like, is there more music? We're gonna get a whole shebang. What are we? I'm ready.
There's more music. I'm so excited about the next single because every time I sing it, even if I'm just practicing at home, I feel so connected to this song because I wrote it coming out of kind of a dark place of I don't know how I'm going to do this record. I don't know, my life doesn't, it's not where it's supposed to be. And it's called You Found Me, and it talks about how God found me in the middle of my heartbreak and my mess, and you know, um all the, you know, all these kind of bad, you know, things. And it's like you can be sitting in a pile of junk and he will come and sit right there with you. That
Yeah.
was the realization. And so I'm excited about this song because I think it will connect with so many people. Like how everybody's had a mess of a time, bad
Yeah.
breakups and crazy relationships and, you know, unfortunate career choices. Like, right. Like I've been stolen from, you know, it's, there's so much. And I just can't wait to see the response. Like I've performed it a couple times and it's a new song. When you open with a new song, it's usually pretty hard and a little scary. And every time that I've done it, people like connect immediately. I'm like, that's got to be God because that doesn't happen. You got to do work, to introduce new music. So the new single and then an EP, and then we're doing live performances for all of the songs. So I'm really excited about that. That'll be video.
Yes, that's amazing. Well, if everyone, you could follow Angel on IG at Love Angel Taylor, so to stay up to date with when the single comes out. Whenever someone says, "I'm going to sing you my new song," that's when people go get popcorn and go to the bathroom. So if you
Right.
you start a show with that, it must be a banger. So I can't wait to hear it. And then you could stream Speak wherever music is heard today. Speak is available. So wherever it's on all streaming platforms, if you're looking for wherever you listen to your music, make sure if it's a morning meditation, if it's a way to go to bed, if it's a gym moment, a clean your house moment, a car ride moment, it fits a lot of different scenarios in your life. You're so sweet and beautiful and lovely.
Oh, thank you. And you're great. I love your energy. You're so pleasant. And, sometimes we do this and it's very dry and done. You are absolutely not that. You're like sunshine. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. It means so much to me. I'll be watching and I'm ready for you when you're back on the New York area on some stage somewhere. I'm ready. I'm ready for it.
Well, I'll make sure you're aware. And I have one question, if that's okay.
Yeah, please.
So musical theater, which we do so much. We go to so many Broadway shows and I really, really love it. My favorites are like the classics. I've seen Bette Midler and Hello Dolly is my favorite. But I'm curious, how do you go about remembering lines?
Ooh.
This is like my question right now because it's so hard for me.
Okay, so I did Rent a run of Rent. I was Roger in Rent. Okay, and I would see people with Rent t-shirts in the front row and be so scared because I was not word perfect for some of it. And I'd be like, they know the words better than I do. It's so hard for me to sit down and really, it's monotonous and the repetition. But I guess just like with you and lyrics and when you do a full concert, I guess the more you put it in your body, the better it is. And it feels that muscle memory. But when I went to acting school, we were taught to sit down by rote, repetition, repeat it, and repeat it. And I hate it.
Yeah. That part is hard, right?
Hard. And it's because it's just so mundane. You're a performer, you're dynamic. Like I want to be up there and doing the work. The sitting down and so I'm not great at it. So that's why a lot of times now I do like my cabaret show where I sing music and tell a story, because if it's just me, just like you were talking, I don't have to memorize it perfectly anymore.
Yeah, exactly. I love that though. Are you still doing that?
I am.
Okay, I'm gonna go do some research and watch some.
I am. We do the show. It's called Unfinished Business because I stopped music. I went to school for music until I was 18 and I chickened out and became a teacher. And when I became a school teacher, I at 32 years old went to acting school and started singing again. And it's called Unfinished Business. It's about coming back to the art.
I love that. I'm definitely checking it out.
That's my story. You're the best. Everybody, I appreciate you. I don't know what to say. Thank you. How is she older than me? And she looks like she's my freshman girlfriend. Like she is so beautiful and so sweet and sings and talented. And I was so excited to get to chat with her. Also, speaking of women empowerment and amazing works and feats of art, Kim Kalish is here. And Kim wrote a one-woman show that's about a very serious subject. It's about the death of her boyfriend, but done in such a fun, amazing way. She blew up in the Fringe Festival in the UK. She's coming to Off-Broadway, and I'm sure the sky's the limit. Take a peek at Kim. All right, everybody. So I'm literally scrolling through the internet and got an email, and I see this. I'm obsessed with one-person shows. It is like I gave up musical theater to do a one-person show because I'm so tired of people telling me what to do. Kim, do you understand, Kim? Kim Kalish is here, and she's coming straight to New York City. She's coming for an amazing whole stretch right here. The funny thing about death. January 20th to the 29th at the Cell Theater. It's a part of a really special festival. She's going to be a really special artist out there. We have her here first because y'all better get ready. Kim Kalish is here. Kim, welcome.
Hi, it's so nice to be here.
I'm so excited to talk to you because I am so fascinated with the idea of doing a show. You don't sing in the show.
No, I don't.
You're
I
not
don't
tap
accept.
dancing.
Nope, none of that.
You're coming, and it's not stand-up comedy.
No, I like to think of it as like the intersection between stand up and theater, right? That's where I live.
You're my people, Kim. That's what I say about my shows, but I just sing a bunch of cheesy songs in the middle. But
Oh, that's amazing. I wish I could do that.
No, you're going to entertain the people. I put the people to sleep. So tell me about when did you become a storyteller? When did you know you had that knack inside you?
Oh, yeah. So I remember the exact moment because I watched Mike Birbiglia's My Girlfriend's Boyfriend's special. And I literally was like, I could not believe, I couldn't believe you could do this, that this is people would pay to watch this and people want to hear this. And it just took me on this path of like, I guess I can tell my story and I can tell it in a fun way that's going to connect with other people. So I started doing, Moth Story Slams, and then I started winning Moth Story Slams. So that brought me to more shows, and I got to do it in all different mediums, and I've just sort of gone from there, and it's been incredible.
And you're an actress. And
yeah, I like to think of myself as a comedian.
Sure,
sort of, what are you going to pay me to do? I'll do it, and then we're good.
Same. So, and you have television credits and appearances on a whole bunch of television shows. But then at some point you decided to sit down and come up with this particular show, which is about a very serious subject matter. So how did the idea come that this was the story to tell?
Yeah. So the funny thing about death is it's the true story about all the wacky things I did while I was grieving the love of my life who died when I was 23, and he was also 23 years old. I'm not 23 years old anymore. But I've been telling these stories for the longest time, little bits of it, 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. I do it on a show here or a show there. But it wasn't until last February that I sat down and thought, I think there's something to say here about grief and about humor and how humor gets us through it. And I just don't think that people talk about grief the way it actually happens, right? Like grief is something that every single person on this planet is going to experience at some point in their life. And absolutely no one tells you what it looks like in like real life. Nobody tells you how silly it is, how joyful it can be to remember things. And also that the pain is awful and it's cyclical. And yet there is a beauty in it because you learn things about humans by going through this, right?
That's such a brilliant way to put it.
Oh, thanks. I mean, it's hard fought truth that I've learned. And so I sat down in February and thought, maybe there's something I have to say about grief. And it's taken me a decade to figure out what I wanted to say. And then once I started saying it, all these people started saying, I think that too. And I've never had someone be able to explain it that way. And this is something we can connect on. And so it's just been this like magical journey of getting to share my story and then getting to hear other people's stories and then connecting on it. It's a beautiful moment. It's really cool.
Well, what I love about the idea is that it's a taboo subject in a lot of ways, but it's a universal subject.
Right. But why is it taboo? This is the thing I don't understand. I know, right? It leaves you kind of speechless of why don't we talk about it? I mean, look, I bought $1,000 worth of Billy Joel songs in about 30 minutes in order to honor him because he had said that he liked this one Billy Joel song, right? That's something I did. I'm now a huge Billy Joel fan because I bought all these songs. That's insane. But I did it, and it's now a part of me, right? And that's grieving, and that's okay, right? It's totally okay to feel all the wackadoodle things.
I completely I can only imagine being 23 and going through what you went through. But grieving is not just about loss of death. I mean, people grieve friendships, relationships, marriages, totally. All sorts of things can cause you to have grief. And we've all acted crazy and have our own stories. You're just brave enough to share them on a stage.
Yeah. Fair. Although this time I'm from New York, so this time I get to do it a couple times in front of my parents. So that's going to be a weird one to get to share all of the deep, dark secrets in front of my family, but it's fine.
Well, if the trailer of it is on your website and it looks, you left me hanging with wanting to know more.
Good. That's the point of a trailer, so I'm excited about
I
it.
want to know the whole situation. So how, for people who are out there that want to write, there's a lot of students, this gets shown in different performing arts schools. When you are wanting to write and you write a story, what is your process? Do you type it? Do you write it by hand? What is the editing process like? What do you do?
Sure. So storytelling is a very specific art, right? It's not stand up where you have to work every single word, right? But it's also not theater, so that it shouldn't be, in my opinion, it should not be completely memorized. So the way I work a story is I sit down and I literally, it's a lie, I don't sit down. I walk everywhere and I just start saying it out loud like a crazy person and just sort of let it marinate as much as possible. So I'll say maybe 4 or 5 sentences and then stop, or I'll think, well, this story did this, that, and the other thing. And it literally is a marination process where I start to talk it through, and then I'll start to write down little bullet points. For me, it's really important not to write out every word for a story because I want it to sound like a conversation always, right? So that's important to me. Other people have a different process, but for me, I write it out like a stand-up set so that I end up with a bullet pointed list of what I'm going to go through. In fact, there's no script for this show. It's just an outline.
That was my question. There's no script.
There's no script. There is a very detailed outline that my tech gets. But for me, I haven't looked at that since I wrote it down in April. And it's just a list of points I want to make.
You're my favorite person. And why I say this, it's not about me, but I want to share my thought process about this. I was doing musical theater, a lot of musical theater. And then I got to the point where I stopped the show and I said, I've never had fun. I'm not having, and I know you come from theater too. You have done theater as well.
Yeah.
I was just not having fun. It was so much blocking and I felt so micromanaged, and I'm kind of a tornado. Like, I just want to do my thing. And I really then sat down and said, I want to tell my story through music, but I want it to feel like we're in a living room and we're having a conversation. So sometimes with a director or somebody who's worked with me, it's like, well, let's write it down. And I can't, my brain doesn't work. And I mean, if you hire me to act, I'll memorize my lines and show up. But I want to just have an experience and I know where I want to go. So it's so nice to hear someone else be as nutty as I am, that it's exhilarating.
No, it's very freeing. I love it. When I first started putting this together, I realized I needed a director to help shape it. And I met with a couple people, and one of them, who she's lovely, but she's like, we're going to rehearse this like a play. We're going to do 100 hours of rehearsal. We're going to make it down so we understand every bit. And I went, no. And I found someone else who is a delightful human who just said, like, just talk to me first, and then let's figure out what we need to do with it.
So are you prepared for a moment on stage that's not since it's not as planned? Is there a confidence? Is there a skill set? What happens if things go awry? You lose your place. Something distracts you. How do you handle it on stage? Is it just breaking the fourth wall and addressing it? What is your, like, in case of emergency button?
Right. Well, the plus to this show is it's entirely a conversation the entire time. Right. I want this to feel always like it's you and I over a glass of wine, and I'm just telling you a story that I've told a million times. So luckily there is no fourth wall. That does not exist in this show whatsoever. But I got to say, the number one schooling that I've ever gotten in my life is I was a UCBer for a long time. I performed improv with them for a long time. I got to tour with them and go into the Chicago Improv Fest, and I did Del Close. And improv is the greatest skill I have ever been able to have. It's the greatest skill set I could manage together, because it just allows you a freedom to say, yeah, shit might go crazy. Yeah. And if it does, we're just going to ride that wave and enjoy it together and see what happens.
You'll get out of it. You will. And it'll be great. And it'll be wonderful. Yeah. So everyone, if you want to go to Kim's website, there's a link to get tickets. And we'll put this up just so while we're in the middle of this, so you know, the funny thing about death, January 20th to 29th. Look at it. Look at all the stars. There's stars across the board. Stars.
Right. So I went to the Edinburgh Festival last year, and I had a magical time. I couldn't believe it. The very first show was completely sold out, and I got a standing ovation the very first night, which meant I became very buzzy and people started knowing who I was. And it was a bizarre moment in my life where people came up to me and would talk to me about it. And because of that, we got all this lovely press and people just said the most wonderful things, which you can also see on the website. But it's been, I don't know, it's been so wonderful to connect with people and to see the way it affects people and you know, to watch the press guys sort of lose their objectivity and just start crying in the audience. Like, yes, that is what we want. Bring it on.
Yes. So is one of the things now people have started to share their own stories with you and feel you're open to their experience?
Yeah. One of the coolest things at Edinburgh that I did not expect is that for a good 45 minutes to an hour after the show, people would stick around and want to talk to me and they'd want to tell me about their stories. You know, anything from, I had a group of high schoolers from New York that were in Edinburgh and they were losing it. And I asked them, you know, what their stories were. And they basically told me that because of COVID, no one had taught them that it was okay to feel their feelings in the grief. And I was apparently the first person to say that, which is crazy to me. But they all started crying because they had the relief of a year of pent up grief or 2 years that they were able to release, you know? And then I had like older couples talk about, you know, lost loves and first loves. And then they found their person, and people would stick around for so long and connect with each other and then connect with me. And it was the most magical thing that I did not expect to happen. And it just happened every single night, which is so cool.
It's what a beautiful moment. And I'm sure the same thing's going to happen in New York. And
I hope so. Yeah.
Sure.
Thank you.
Kim, I'm ready for the book, the miniseries, the television movie, the Lifetime. I want a lifetime moment with you and Ian Ziering. And I need all of that.
It's going to be me and Brene Brown. She's going to tell you why you shouldn't feel shame. And I'm going to tell you why it's okay to grieve. And it's just going to be the two of us.
I'm ready. I'm setting my DVR already. And it's intimate. You're going to feel like it's almost like it's you and a state. This is as real and raw as it can possibly be.
Yeah, we're breaking it all down. So it's a very intimate space, which I love. And we're getting the audience is very close. We're going to break all of it, right? Like, don't expect a show. You're going to come and you're going to be with me and we're going to become friends. You're going to know everything about me by the end of it. And so we're just going to be besties. So,
are you worried? Your parents have not seen it?
My mom has seen it. And my mom has been prepping my dad that we talk about everything. I mean, I talk about vibrators, I talk about sex, I talk about crying, I talk about drinking. They're going to get it all. So we're doing it.
And what was the catharsis? Was the purpose of this? Did you pick this particular story because you felt like there was a lot to say, because you wanted to address it, because you felt it in your spirit? Like, what made you in your lifetime of moments say this vulnerable time in your life is the story that I need to tell?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think that the grieving process for me was active for a good 10 years. I was an absolute mess for a long time. I was unable to connect with people. I was unable to love anybody. You know, I even had problems like emotionally regulating myself because I didn't realize how much I hadn't finished grieving, right? So this show is not about a healing process for me, because I have come to a very peaceful spot with all of this, but it's just that I finally figured out what I wanted to say, having gone through this for so long, you know. And if a little bit of my story means that somebody else doesn't have to go through 10 years of torturing themselves because all they need to do is feel some feelings, then I will have done my job, right? And if I can get someone to understand that it's okay to not be okay, then everything I've gone through would have been worth it, you know? And that's sort of where I'm at with the show. It's just about connecting with people and making you giggle and laugh real hard. And then I'm going to punch you in the gut and then I'm going to make you laugh again. But like, we're going to go through it together, you know?
Well, you know, in my regular life, I'm a 5th grade school teacher in New Jersey. Oh. And we've been talking a lot about coping skills and about communication, even at a young age, because through COVID, you know, these 10-year-olds are really 7-year-olds who don't know how to communicate. And we see it as it goes older. And there are adults who don't know how to process and cope either. And that's why, you know, shows like this that end the stigma that we were talking about, that it's okay to be sad and it's okay to be upset and it's okay to talk about it, is so powerful. It's so powerful.
Oh, yeah, I think so. I think just look, there's a power in laughing together. And then there is a power in crying together. And if we can do it all at the same time in an hour, then let's do it. Right? Everything I tell you in the show is 100% true. So you will get to know me. I don't exaggerate anything in the show for a laugh. It's all real. So like, you'll get to know me. And if we can have a moment, if we can connect, if we can just kind of squeeze each other's hands and think like, hey, I see you, I'm done. This is the most LA I have ever sounded in my life. I'm sitting here talking about vibes, but like, this is where we're at. So.
She's in LA right now. It's wearing on her. She probably has avocado toast in the kitchen.
I mean, yes. Did I have a smoothie for breakfast? Yes. Yes, I did. Do I have a 20-step skin routine? Yes. Do you see the glow? So yes. I did. So.
Absolutely. You're going to come to New York and be like, what is a Subway? What is going on here?
Yeah.
And it's cold here, Kim. I'm just warning you.
Oh, I'm not ready for it at all because 60 degrees to me is cold. So I'm not ready. I just want to be clear.
She's LA now. We lost her. Everyone, it's coming up this weekend. It starts and it's going to be get in there before it's going to blow up and you're going to want to grab your seats. It's at the Cell Theater, which is on 338 West 23rd Street. It's January 28th to the 29th. If you want tickets, go to kimkalish.com, and it's called The Funny Thing About Death. And if you want to follow Kim, go to the Instagram and keep up to with all the things that's to come also as well. So you'll be up or go to the website. And I'm so excited to see it. I am so excited to see it. And I'm so excited to see more stories and more projects and more work that's going to come. Thank you for sharing this and sharing your art and making it something that we can all just, I know it comes at a cost because it's your story and you have to retell it. And it means a lot that you share it with us. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. That's very, very kind. I can't wait to just show everybody. It's just going to be so wonderful.
I'm so excited. Congrats. Break all the legs.
Thank you so much.
How about that for a power hour? How about that for some real serious business? That is the way to do it. Those are two people that are idols of mine now because they are out here working and doing their thing. Thank you so much for joining us. You know, we're here every single week with a bonus episode and a live show every single Thursday here on the Roundtable. If you like this show, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Tell people all about it. And if you want more information about me, go to robertbannon.com. Thank you so much for being here. And I look forward to seeing you again real soon. Everybody, remember, be good to one another and the best is yet to come. See you next time.